Saying hello to all those beautiful faces.
Mentally, emotionally, it's really important too that we take a moment to pray. We take a moment to remember that seeing peace and seeing the light and seeing that this is temporary, this is not going to be forever, that we will be okay, we will figure it out.
Hello, all those beautiful faces. How we doing? So, me, I'll be honest, I'm not doing all that well. My stress, my anxiety levels, crazy right now. And, generally I would consider myself somebody who handles pressure, handles stress in stride. Because I feel like I have power. I have the power to change the way things are, to control my destiny. But with this COVID-19 coronavirus, it feels like so much is out of my hands. There's only so much we can do. Wash up, try to stay in social isolation, try to stay informed and vigilant as possible. And there's school districts that are closing all over the country, but here in New York City, the mayor keeps insisting he's going to do everything he can to keep them open. And I certainly don't envy his position. I mean, he has over 8 million people looking to him for guidance. And I certainly don't take lightly the role that schools play in the community. You guys know that. You guys know I do everything for these kids. But at the same time, what is the balancing act between keeping schools open and providing services for the most vulnerable, and just as importantly, for care for the kids of healthcare workers, because we definitely are going to need all of them on the ground. I get that. But I think that we're endangering way more lives, and including those healthcare workers, by keeping the schools open. I think that we need to formulate a plan to be able to provide limited services to the people who need them, but while also providing safety and protection for the vast majority of people. And of course that's health, but it's also mental health. The stress that this is putting on teachers, just thinking about having to go into these classrooms with potentially 30 or more students, not to mention passing in the hallways, not to mention PE, not to mention lunch, all these spaces, right? And the kids in New York City, they're taking public transport in. So there's just a myriad of factors. I keep going through it in my head and playing it over and over again. And I just don't get why we're insisting on keeping the schools open and this one size fits all. It's like equity for all means coronavirus for all or something. I'm still hoping and praying that they make the right call. Right now it's 9:15 on Saturday night, 3/14 Pi Day. So we got about another 24 hours, so we're going to see what they do. But that's how I'm feeling, and something that's really helped get me through this time has just been reaching out to other teachers, and other teachers reaching out to me to see how I'm doing, to comfort each other. And so that's what really this purpose of the video is. I wanted to share some of my thoughts, my feelings, my perspective, and then I wanted to share some messages from some other teachers who I've been interacting with from all over the country, and even some from all over the world. So we're going to start with a message from a teacher out in China. And she, obviously China, this is where it started. And so they've been going through this for weeks, over a month now. And she's going to share her experience and her perspective. And shout out to her. Thank you for being a voice, a steady voice of comfort in a time like this. So let's check her out, and we'll check out some other messages from other teachers as well.
Hi guys, I'm Lizzie Lotus from Lessons from a Lotus, and I'm super excited to be a part of this video with Class Disruption. I teach at an international school in China.
And, I work here in Santa Clara County in California. It's one of the first places where the coronavirus popped up.
Hello, I'm Brittany Caldwell from Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a 11th grade teacher in DeKalb County School District. And the coronavirus is definitely affecting my classroom.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kyle Krieger, and I am an 8th grade global studies teacher in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And Steph reached out to me to just talk a little bit about my experience currently with the coronavirus.
Hi, reporting live from Westfield, New Jersey on Friday, March 13th. Pun intended that it is Friday the 13th, dealing with a lot of the madness and uncertainty.
As a teacher in Oakland Unified School District in Oakland, California, the past week has been a rough week.
So, our experience with the coronavirus, when it first started, I think the response was swift and severe. We were all over the place in different countries and different parts of China because it happened during the Chinese New Year break that we had. But the government responded quickly, our school responded quickly, and procedures were put into place. School was canceled, and we started doing online courses on Schoology. And then when we saw that this was going to last a little bit longer, the school put into place Zoom classes. So that means that we do video classes, live stream, just like a normal day throughout the school, following the bell schedule. We're on Zoom with our students. That way we get to see the class, interact, have discussions, which is really nice. Our school, we don't have a union, but I think that our international school has taken care of teachers really, really well. I feel very safe. They provide us with food 3 times a day, every single day. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, and, every day. Super nice. It just makes you feel safe. They make sure we have water deliveries. We live on campus at a boarding school, so that is a part of it, and we have a cafeteria, so that's why we're able to go to the cafeteria every day. So super nice. I know not everyone lives at school, but for us it's been a really big positive. So they made sure we had masks. They made sure that we had everything we needed in order to teach our classes and feel safe here. When we came back from our trip, during Chinese New Year, they sent a car to pick us up from the airport, which is nice so that we didn't have to travel in public transport. So I think they really are trying their best to take care of teachers as much as possible. Emotionally, I'm feeling really good. And I know that's not the case for all the teachers out there. Some schools are not handling this the same way. And my heart goes out to you guys. And I really hope that things start to calm down ASAP. I want my kids back in my classroom. This is a weird situation, being on video all the time with them. But yep, that's what's going on in China right now. We have no idea when classes will resume as normal, and we're just gonna play it by ear until the government says we can open again.
Next, I gotta shout out fellow history teacher and New York City educator, World History KIP NYCCP, and she teaches at a KIP charter school, and she's been, every time I post something or on my story, just keeping me updated, keeping me comforted, and really showing or sharing an example of a proactive response to this virus. So at KIP, they had a meeting, she said, at this point, I guess it's almost 2 weeks ago, about the coronavirus, steps that they were taking to prepare. And then today, while other New York City schools are still in session, the charter school has decided to close their doors. But again, they're being proactive about it. They're not just closing down. So this is what they put out. They said, in addition to access to the building to pick things up, we will also be distributing computers in the building from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. on both days. The computers are for families in need, and we will also be providing MiFi, so if you don't have internet, right? The event that families reach out inquiring about picking up a computer, please inform them of this time window for both days. Please share a picture of the student ID who requested the computer to the leadership listserv. This will provide us with the name of the OSIS number. If they do not have an ID, send a name and we'll put up the OSIS number. And then they have meal access. We'll be providing access to grab-and-go meals prepared by the cafetorium staff to students who attend KIPP and live in the Bronx region. This will be happening during the duration of the virtual learning. The times that meals can be picked up are from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Breakfast and lunch packs will be available throughout the day. Should families inquire, you can inform them of this support and assistance. So just being very clear and open with the communication with the teachers there, and of course providing the necessary health safety standards, but also still providing students with the resources that they need. And this is an example of what I believe the appropriate response is, and I hope and I pray, and I'm taking action across social media to voice that opinion. So let's hope.
Very real, very, I would say scary almost. We had a school in our district 2 days ago where the student didn't have it, but they were in primary contact with somebody who did have coronavirus. And then yesterday, a student at our school was identified as, again, not having it, but being in primary contact with somebody. And so the reality that, yes, we are coming in, or we have the potential to come into contact with this, became very real.
Well, I think the conveying of the information was kind of rough, but on Thursday, San Francisco schools closed down for 2 weeks, and now on Friday, we received word that we'll be closed down for 2 weeks and shifting to an online learning environment.
Well, to start off with, even though it's been a discussion for the last couple of weeks, the district didn't really say anything until about this Wednesday. And everything is just happening really fast down here, at least. We did have a teacher work day this Friday, the 13th, which is today. We had a teacher work day planned already, so the students were not going to be here. But yesterday, they did announce that school is closed here in DeKalb County School District indefinitely.
My school district has not yet announced any closings. On the contrary, many school districts in the surrounding area, next town over, two towns over in the county, have announced that they're closing. There is one particular county in North Jersey, Bergen County, the entire county, all 75 schools have closed starting Monday, half day today on Friday, and then starting Monday until further notice.
Up until yesterday, we were coming to school every day, and today it really hit home when it was announced that we were shutting down for 3 weeks. They kind of sandwiched in spring break right after those 3 weeks, basically giving us a month off.
I've been using Google Classroom and several other digital tools to get across information for several years now, so it won't be a big adjustment for my students in regards to those that have access to it. But I'm encouraging other teachers, if you have not started learning about shifting to online tools to share your information and share your lessons, definitely get some information on that so that you can start shifting. Google Classroom is a very reliable source. It's pretty user-friendly and self-explanatory for the most part.
A 3-week virtual planning schedule and upload all of our assignments onto our virtual system, which is called Verge down here, so that all of our students can have access to that for the next 3 weeks.
And I know a lot of school districts are attempting to create, home instruction type of programs, packets of work for every single subject, trying to take into consideration that many students still do not have access to a laptop, might not be able to get onto Google Classroom. However, there's still many classrooms before all of this that were very technologically oriented and using, Google Classroom, whatever platform they were using. So, for the teachers who were accustomed to using it, this is not a big deal. For those who aren't, this is a bigger deal. Obviously, a lot of people, our number one concern is staying healthy and having our kids stay healthy and our family members stay healthy, ourselves stay healthy. And then, a secondary issue is regression of academics and not knowing how all of this will play out and affect our kids' progress.
on the personal level, it's for sure worrisome. Um, my parents are in their 60s. My in-laws are in their 70s. I have two grandparents who are in their 80s, and four nieces and nephews under 4 years old. So on a personal level, it's hard to try to cope with those worries and fears, along with dealing with the expectations of kids.
My parents are older, and so I am definitely more cautious nowadays with this floating around, especially in our particular area.
Emotionally, this has been kind of scary for me. I was waiting and hoping that they shut schools down because I've had a lot of students coughing, and I had to ask nicely one of my students who seems to be kind of ill, like, hey, honey, do not feel pressured to come to school if you are not feeling well. Please stay home. Stay home.
This message is from Teacher Memes by Ben. Definitely has some dank memes on his page, so if you need some comic relief, go check him out. All right, and this is what he has to say. One of my main takeaways from all this is just how saturated my students are from all the information, and let's face it, misinformation. They're getting information from everywhere, news, family, each other, but also mostly social media, TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. We've obviously been talking a lot about coronavirus as they're concerned, but also curious about it, and they recognize the scope of it. But I've been really concerned at how much misinformation there is out there and how students don't always have the skills to decipher it. I teach grade 6 and do a lot of critical thinking and analysis work anyway, but even so, it's hard for them to make sense of it all. It's hard for us all, right? The news of coronavirus at the moment is overwhelming, with a sense of people wanting to get the news out there first. They don't have to be right, they just have to be first. And of course, that kind of thing spreads quickly, so quickly on social media. So we've done a lot of discussion and work on how to know if something in the news is legitimate and how to check sources. I see so many news items spread by influencers that may later be fake or not completely accurate, but the corrections to these are lost. It just made me realize now more than ever, we as teachers need to facilitate the key skill of media analysis, critical thinking, and source checking, because without it, I've seen students grow more and more concerned and worried. And that goes for any age. I know myself, I mean, at least I have the ability, I know, check up, follow on sources, but when you read that headline, a lot of the damage is already done. It gets your mind spinning. So I think also that means that we need to have a better balance between our use of social media and our time off of it, especially things like this. We need to let our mind filter out. We need to take some deep breaths, which is also why on Monday, which the video is going to come out on Sunday, so tomorrow, if you're watching this, on Monday, March 16th, I will be doing an online course with Grounded Teaching, just about breathing and staying grounded and staying in the moment. So definitely join me for that. I'm going to put the link in the description below. Totally free course, although I do suggest that you make a donation, as I've done myself.
It's going to have some very real impacts on both teachers and students that I honestly don't think that we have thought of.
One of the biggest demographics in my community is the autism population, and it's very difficult to just send home packets for kids who are nonverbal, kids who are getting a specific type of ABA instruction, specific type of behavior interventions. So unless that parent is able to replicate it all on his or her own for the course of a day, which is very unlikely, then it's going to be hard. And so regression is probably going to happen for many of our the neediest kids, our autistic population, our ADHD, behavioral disturbed population, our dyslexic population. So I am going to be attempting to teach myself how to possibly have to give a tutoring lesson online.
I'm on a planning committee for our 8th grade capstone trip to Washington, D.C., which is supposed to take place the week before Memorial Day in May. And we went home last Friday and it wasn't really on our radar. We weren't super worried about it. We came back Monday and we've been in meetings every single day to try to figure out how we're going to balance this situation, because we're in a position where we've paid out almost $40,000 for hotels and bus fares and food and tickets.
Also, my little kid is behind me over there, that guy, because even though our kids are out of school, we still had to report to work today. So I'm feeling for the moms out there who are not off from work for the next couple of weeks. What are you going to do with your children who are at home, especially because a lot of daycares have shut down? So
Sitting here grappling with, how do I tell kids who've been looking forward to this trip since they were kindergartners at this charter school that they're not going to get to go?
communication has been pretty well. On Wednesday, our principal just spoke with us about teachers planning to go on spring break and taking precautions. So our administration has been pretty good about being transparent with us with the information that they have gotten.
Just to say, hey, shut down the schools. The issue is probably a little more complicated than that, because we have to worry about ADA, our daily attendance, funding for the following year. And so, yeah, I mean, you could shut them down, but without the kind of right things happening, you could impact, the finances for the following school year. And, while some people, not a super popular, thing to say, but is it all about the money? Well, teachers have to get paid. If we don't have enough money, it impacts us as educators. So in that regard, I can see why it took a little longer. I do think one of the things the district could have done a little bit better was laid out a plan of, like, look, these are the things that need to happen before school closes down, or at least saying, look, we will close schools down once these things happen. And unless you were reading up on these things, unless you were digging on your own time, you didn't see like what dominoes needed to fall in order for us to close down schools and not have it impact our.
We do Georgia milestone test, which is our standardized test, at the end of April. That's the regular schedule. So I'm wondering if they're going to X the Georgia milestone at all, or what are our expectations as far as standardized testing because of this outbreak.
All right, so this is from Collaborative Conscious, a fellow Bronx educator. She works on the contractor side throughout several of the schools in the city. And she says she's trying to keep level-headed and good perspective of things, that this will pass and we must not panic. But it's an eye-opener for a lot of people who depend on the system to tell them what to do. And that's definitely something that I also have been thinking about a lot, and that's what class disruption is a lot about, is what's that line between personal responsibility and the system. And so that's definitely a conversation that she and I will continue to have, and hopefully we can get her on for that.
I'm trying to do everything I can to get the kids to stop touching each other, stop sharing water bottles, stop doing all those things that might put them in danger. So
I have been trying my hardest to keep my classroom clean. As we know, janitors do not deep clean your classroom every single day. They do more of a skim cleaning. So I've been trying, buying the hand sanitizer that I can.
Fortunately for me, I've always been kind of a germaphobe teaching kids, because they like to touch things and be kids. But I always try to wash my hands as often as possible with soap and water. And in between time, I try to keep sanitizer. And I've been encouraging kids to use sanitizer more and wash their hands with soap and water as much as possible.
There's a lot of uncertainty and not knowing, and the feeling of not knowing is just very hard for a lot of people, including myself. And so when in situations like this, of course, hygienically, we want to make sure that we're doing extra, going above and beyond, washing the hands and not touching the face, and disinfecting wipes and all that good stuff in my car, in and out, hand sanitizer every single time. Walk into the school, even though I just hand sanitize, go ahead and wash my hands again. Wipe down the area I'm about to sit and eat at.
I really do wish that the attention the coronavirus is getting, things like climate change, we're getting. Climate change is something that's affecting every age group. It's affecting more than just humans on this planet, and hasn't gotten nearly the attention that this has. And I know this is like, again, a very immediate thing.
for me, being a social studies teacher, it is a unique opportunity, though, to really connect modern life to to the classroom. So tomorrow we're going to take the time to talk about it, what our kids are feeling, what they're thinking. So
and throughout this whole time, I was just thinking, like, I hope that people are getting accurate information going to places like the CDC, World Health Organization, and really researching what's going on. And if you look at like Google John Hopkins map, Google COVID-19 John Hopkins map. Tons of data. But one of the things that doesn't get promoted on there is how many people have actually like recovered from coronavirus. So totally possible to recover from coronavirus. And these are things that I tell my students to put them at a little bit more at ease.
All right, so this message is from Teacher Taylor. She is a teacher in Michigan, and so far there have been a few confirmed cases surrounding counties. All local colleges and universities are closed, and her school is closed for Friday the 13th and Monday 3/16, so teachers can plan in case they're closed for longer. She thinks that information is spread super fast. We're a small school, so word spread fast. My principal sends information on the same day she receives it. She's understanding and trying to help us in any way possible. I don't have a union because I work at a private school, but I feel supported by other teachers I've met through social media and other teacher friends. I was fine emotionally until we closed school on Monday. I'm starting to get more and more concerned, not for anything in particular, but just generally. I've gone into full cleaning mode. We share Chromebooks within the middle school, and we started having the kids wipe down their Chromebook after every use. I started sanitizing desks before and after school, and we are currently on hand sanitizer shortage. We have to use hand sanitizing wipes now. Overall, I think the hysteria of the virus is too much, but I also get that people are dying from this, and it isn't pleasant going through it.
But I'm just definitely bidding every teacher out there Godspeed in this situation. I'm hoping for you all to be safe, and I'm hoping that schools around the nation will do what's best for our students and most importantly for our teachers, so that we can all take steps towards moving through this current challenge that we're facing. And I know on the other side of this, great things will come out of it.
I hope you guys are staying safe, and hopefully your schools, your district, your classroom is staying safe. Keep washing those hands, keep wiping those surfaces, and stay safe.
you can find the work that I do with my partner Wilkie V Law on @ValueAdsValue. So I'd love to hear your experience, and I appreciate Steph for giving me a chance to share my perspective.
I believe a silver lining is in everything. So I'm here for those who want to chat. Thanks, Stephanie. Love you.
So I hope you could at least find some comfort in this video. Everybody who contributed, please check them out. Please go show them love. Everything's down in the description down below. You know, wash your hands, wash your phone, social distancing, and deep breaths, and stay foolish, y'all.